There's so many things that can traumatize us. It isn't simply about something so humongous. Signs and symptoms of post-traumatic stress. Name them. Check. You don't go through something like this. I did not recognize myself. How is that? I refer to that time as my period of insanity. I planned on just disappearing. I didn't want anyone to know what I had just escaped. I wanted no questions about my past. I wanted to just have a new name, new identity, new everything.
And you say that you were in therapy for many months.
Years.
Years.
For me, the very first thing that showed up was panic attacks, which I had about 7, 8, 10, 11, 12 times a day. I could be on the bus and be triggered, somebody looking at me and be triggered, people just asking or saying, "I'm so sorry you went through that." So you wear your trauma, where if there are individuals who have gone through something, they can pretty much tell that this person before me is going through. So anxiety attacks, panic attacks. You can say they're one and the same. For me, the panic attack is about the intensity. And anxiety, I could feel it rising in my body. And I remember educating my friends, when you feel an anxiety, when you can look at me and see that something is coming on, because I don't want it to get into a panic attack, inject humor. Inject something that would just get me out of this space of cycles where I would just spiral down. Nightmares, which my first nightmare was about 2 a.m. the morning of September 12th. Loss of appetite. For me, I needed to change pretty much everything I ate. Something as simple as a banana, which I really liked. Bananas for me were very calming. Now there were a few food that was high in potassium and creates anxiety. There's so many different symptoms that different people experience, and I think the difficulty breathing, not being able to sleep, the racing thoughts. I would go to the gym as a way, instead of taking medication, I'd go to the gym every day, 2 to 3 hours, and work out so I can have that shift with the adrenaline that was pumping. I had lots of headaches. A person experiencing signs and symptoms of PTSD, we don't all experience the same thing, but it's important to recognize that this is not normal for everyday functioning. So recognizing, even at the onset, I'll be at work and I could be talking to a colleague and something would happen down the hall and I'd have racing thoughts. I could feel my body changing, right? And recognizing, it's knowing oneself well enough to recognize what's about to come. And for me, that was key. What's about to come on? And I'd go to the bathroom, turn on the shower, the tap, and stick my hand onto the water, because water has always been very calming for me. It was about calming down and getting to a sense of comfort and peace. So my thing is, confront that ugliness. I know it's hard. I know that. I've been there over and over. But if you never confront your fears in life, you will be haunted by them. It doesn't matter what it is. And it's not just about September 11th, it's about when people try to terrorize you, there's so many things that can traumatize us. It isn't simply about something so humongous. You've got people who've been raped, you've got people who've gone through physical abuse, battered women syndrome. There is physical and sexual abuse. There's so many things for which we can be traumatized and left with signs and symptoms of PTSD.
It's very important for people to speak up and to get help. I think, it's very important for them to step forward and not to live in that darkness, and to know that they're not alone. There are other people out there who are ready to help them, or who are in the same situation that they want to come out and feel safe and to reach out for help.
Yeah. For me, I've always felt like I've been silenced. So even sitting here today, or back immediately after 9/11, when friends at NBC suggested the Dateline NBC interviews or speaking at conferences in California, for somebody who's been silenced or have felt silenced her whole life, to be called to speak, the only thing I can say to people who have been traumatized is to speak. You may feel like you're too vulnerable. And I remember one of my pastors saying, I think we put you out there too soon, because when you moved to California, you were still so fragile. And I said, we can judge that and say it was too soon because we care. I know you care. I know you and your wife care about me. But the simple fact that I had so many people around me who cared, these were perfect strangers who knew what I had gone through. And they used it as an opportunity to minister to others. And for me, that was the important piece. If there's anyone at all that you trust, speak to that individual. Allow that individual to help you to find your voice so you can speak, so you can get to the other side of the difficulty that you're going through. I had a handful of people and my therapist, right? So if we have at least one person who is a source of strength, as long as that individual or individuals can handle, because not everybody can handle it. My therapist said, you can't expect your family members to understand where you are. So if you have at least one person, and that was my therapist, who can walk through with you what you're going through, confide everything you can in that one person and have them walk with you. Do not play games, because if you play games, you're screwing up your own healing, your own process. Confide 100% in that one individual and let them help you through this to get to the next level where you build your circle. That's when I moved to California. Build human relationships, face to face, not the text messaging. Build relationships with people, heart to heart, eye to eye. Build relationships where if you are going through something, anything, someone can look at you, because you don't know if you'll have the strength, the courage, whatever it takes to actually verbalize what you're feeling or what you have gone through, what the experience is. Build those human connections where the individuals in your circle, 1, 2, 3 people, can look at you and know that something is wrong, something has happened. Having that human connection, collaboration and relationship is really important for our healing. Yeah. And if anyone is listening to this who can recognize him or herself in what I am saying, I will say, please confront this darkness that continues to haunt you. Because until you do, you're giving voice to that thing and not to the strength that is in you to overcome that thing and crush it.
Well said.
Yeah.
And that's part of building resilience.